My name's Andy Crook, and my mission is to help garage owners become more successful in business. And how do I do that? Is I go live most weeks on a topic from one of the 5 pillars of business as I see it. And today we're in the planning pillar, and we're talking about excuses. Most garages aren't stuck because they don't know what to do. They're stuck because they won't do what it takes to be more successful. And I'm not saying that to be cruel. I'm saying it because if you're waiting for the perfect strategy, the perfect market, the perfect timing, you'll be waiting forever. And here's the truth. You're not being held back by the market, money, methods, or even the business model. You're being held back by you. You're being held back by a comfort. Comfort dressed up as logic. Comfort dressed up as previous experience. Comfort dressed up as realism. And if you want to grow, you need to learn to do one thing. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. Because growth lives on the other side of discomfort. Now, I want to give you something today that you can actually use, not theory or fluffy motivation, something that you can actually do for yourself. And the reason this is hard is because your brain is clever. It doesn't say, I'm scared. It doesn't say, I don't want to be uncomfortable. It doesn't tell you, I'm avoiding doing what it takes. Oh no, it gives you reasons. Polite reasons, professional reasons, realistic reasons. And those reasons are really excuses, are the things that are holding your garage back. So let me frame it properly. Or, as Alex Hormozi calls them, he calls them the 5 M's of excuses. And 4 of them are external. They point to outside your business. Money, market, model, and method. And 1 is internal. Mindset. And here's the punchline if there is one. And I think you really need to hear this. Money, market, model, and method are usually the excuses. And mindset is usually the source. Because whenever I ask a garage owner to do more or to do it better, the excuses that come back are nearly always external. But the real reason is internal. They're protecting their comfort. They're protecting their ego. They're protecting their identity. And by the way, why is this in the planning pillar? Because planning isn't just visions and goals. Planning is decision making. Planning is strategy. And strategy is defined as the prioritization of resources, choosing the uncomfortable work and not staying where it's comfortable. The atomic success method prioritizes the lowest level need of any business. You fix the lowest level need first. Cash flow, a sales level. Profit, a stability level need. Or systems, an order level need. Because sales create cash flow, which is the oxygen of your business. Profit creates stability, so you can stop living on a knife edge. And systems create order, so you build a business that doesn't rely on you. And we run one rule to stop the chaos. We do more, we do it better before we do additional. But most garage owners want to do the opposite. They skip more, they skip better, and the moment it gets uncomfortable, they escape into additional. They offer a new service. They buy a new tool. They have a new idea, that new shiny thing, because it feels like progress. But most of the time, it simply reduces efficiency and effectiveness because you're adding complexity to a business that hasn't earned the right for complexity yet. So let me show you how this plays out with 3 different owners I've met over and over again. And if you recognize yourself in any of them, good, because that's the point. We've changed the names to protect the guilty and to protect the egos of anyone who recognizes themselves. Let's start with Divering Dave. Sales matter because sales creates the cash flow, and cash flow is the oxygen of your business. You don't notice when it's there, but you soon panic when it's not. So when a garage has a sales level need, what they're really saying is, we're not consistently generating, converting, delivering, or collecting cash, which makes cash flow a problem. Unpredictable cash flow is stressful. This is what I call ACDC. ACDC standing for attract, convert, deliver, collect. And that is the basis of the framework we look at whenever a business has a sales level need. So here's our first character, Divering Dave. And Dave isn't lazy because Dave is busy. In fact, he's always busy. Dave is the king of it'll get done tomorrow. Dave says, Andy, I don't need more work. I need more of the right work. And then I say, fine. We need to do more of the actions that create demand, and we need to do them better. Nothing fancy, nothing magical, just more reps and better execution. Dave nods, looks motivated for about 7 seconds. Then the excuses arrive like, first, money. I can't afford marketing. Now listen, I get it. Sometimes cash is tight. I really do understand it. But if Dave truly believed that spending £1 would reliably bring back £2, I bet he'd find the money. So when I hear I can't afford it, what I'm actually hearing is, I'm not sure this will work. And I don't want to feel stupid if it doesn't. Because that's not money, that's mindset. It's fear disguised as finance. Then soon enough, Dave goes, people round here won't pay more. It's different in this area. Translation. I don't want to put myself out there and risk rejection. That's not market. That's mindset. Fear described as geography. And then Dave gets into method. I don't know what to post. I don't know what to say. I need a plan. This one's relatable. It's basically professional procrastination because method sounds responsible. But what often it means is, I don't want to start imperfectly. I want to start perfectly. That's mindset. Perfectionism disguised as planning. And then here's the killer move when Dave tries to escape. He goes straight to additional. Maybe I should add something new. Maybe I should launch a new thing. Maybe I should change direction. And I need to stop him because additional feels like progress. But if you haven't earned it, it's avoidance. So I tell Dave, you don't need another thing. You need to get comfortable being uncomfortable and do your main thing more consistently and better. Because when sales is the issue, the business needs oxygen, not a rebrand. And if you won't do the basics consistently, a new idea won't save you. It'll just give you a new place to hide. Let's move on to people-pleasing Pete. And let's move up a level, because a garage can be busy, but still be unstable. Busy isn't the goal. Stability is the goal. So the profit level is really about stability, stable margins, stable pricing discipline, stable decision-making, a stable cash buffer built up in the business. When profit is the lowest level need, what the business is basically saying is we have sales, but the structure doesn't produce reliable profit. And this is normally where I meet people-pleasing Pete. Pete is the nicest bloke in the world. Customers love him, staff like him, and Pete is allergic to discomfort. And Pete says, Andy, we're flat out. I just don't feel like we're getting ahead. And I say, then we need to do it better. Better pricing discipline, better margin protection, better measurement, better management, better mastery, better making of decisions. And Pete immediately goes external. He starts with market. My customers won't pay anymore. Everyone's skint. Translation? I'm scared of losing approval. I'm scared of someone saying no. That's not market. That's mindset, people-pleasing, disguised as economics. Then he goes model. That's just the way we do it. That's how it's always been. And what's he really saying? I don't want to change how we operate because it forces hard conversations. And that's not model. That's mindset, avoidance disguised as tradition. And then the old favorite, money. I can't put my prices up. I'll lose too many customers. What's he really saying? I'm trying to buy certainty with low prices. And that's not money. That's mindset. Fear disguised as risk management. And then Pete does what most unstable garages do. He tries to escape into additional. Maybe I need a bigger premises. Maybe I need another MOT bay. Maybe I need to add wheel alignment. And here's the tough love truth that goes with that. More volume doesn't fix weak profit. In fact, it magnifies. If your margins are weak, more work is just more stress, possibly more loss. So I tell Pete, no, you need to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Stop blaming the market, start measuring, start managing, and start mastering your business. Profit isn't what's left though. It's the result of difficult decisions that you have been avoiding. And now we're at the level that separates a job from a business. Systems and order is about one thing: removing the kingpin. The kingpin is the single point of failure. The person everything relies on. The person who can't take a day off without a whole place wobbling. And 9 times out of 10, the kingpin is the owner. The kingpin is you. When systems or order are the lowest level need, the business is basically saying, we don't have order, we have heroic effort. And heroic effort can't scale. And here we enter our final character. And our final character, it really is a special snowflake. He's our hero, Harry. And Harry is brilliant. He has forgotten more about fixing cars than most people will ever learn. He sets high standards. Harry also believes deep down that nobody else can do it like him. And Harry says, Andy, why can't anybody else do it like me? And I say, then we need order, systems, standardization, processes, consistency. We need kingpin redundancy. And Harry fires the externals immediately. I can't afford more staff or training. Translation, I don't trust the investment will pay back because I don't trust anyone else to execute. And that's not money. That's mindset. Control disguised as finance. And, oh, we're different. We're specialists. It won't work here. What's he saying here? He's blaming the model. But really, it's his identity is tied to being the hero. If the system works with Howdy, then who is he? And that's not model. That's mindset. Identity disguised as uniqueness. Then he blames the method. We tried systems. It didn't work. And what's the translation? They tried, but they quit when it got uncomfortable. And that's not method. Once again, it's mindset. Impatience disguised as experience. And then when Harry goes for the classic escape hatch, the additional, maybe we need a better garage management system. Maybe we need to offer ADAS. Maybe we need another dealer tool. And this is where businesses break, because adding more to disorder doesn't create growth. It creates collapse. So I need to tell Harry, before you add anything, get comfortable being uncomfortable. Stop being the kingpin. Build order, build systems, create processes, create more consistency, a better business. Then, and only then, do something additional. If it only works when you're the hero, it's not a business. It's a hostage situation. Unfortunately, no one is ever going to pay the ransom. So what we need to do is we need to understand when we are using excuses to stop us from doing stuff. And here's a tool, the thing that you can use today, because stories are great. But what you need is a way to catch yourself the second you're about to say, yeah, but, and this is what I call the 4-second excuse audit. And basically, you're going to ask yourself 4 questions. The first one is, which M am I using? Which M am I blaming? Money, market, model, or method? And then you name it. Because the moment you name it, you stop being inside the excuse and you start observing it from outside. And you start to really see what you're complaining about. The next question is then you need to ask yourself, what level is actually the weakest? Is it sales? Is it profit? Is it systems? And you need to be honest, because sales weaknesses feels like cash flow pressure, and profit weaknesses feel like instability. And system weakness feels like disorder or everything revolving around you. Which level do you need to fix first? The third question is, am I avoiding doing more or am I avoiding doing it better? Am I avoiding more consistency, more reps, more following through, or better quality, better discipline, or better decisions? Because most of the time, the pain you're feeling is the price of more or better, and your brain wants a discount. And the discount is simply an excuse. And the fourth question you ought to ask yourself is, am I about to escape into the additional? And this is probably the killer question, because additional is the adult version of procrastination. A new service, a new tool, a new idea, a new platform. It always feels like action. It always feels like progress. But if sales is weak, profit is unstable, or systems are chaos, additional reduces efficiency and effectiveness. So if the answer is yes, you're about to escape into additional, your next line is, what is the constraint? Should I be doing more or should I be doing better? That's it. 4 questions. Which M? Which level? Am I avoiding doing more or am I avoiding doing better? And am I escaping into additional? So here's the final thing I'll leave you with. Your business will never outgrow your mindset. If you're blaming money, market, model, or method, you're probably projecting outwards because the limiting factor is really you. And if it is you, only you can change it. And that's what get comfortable being uncomfortable really means. It means you stop negotiating with discomfort. You stop making excuses and you do the hard yards. And if you keep doing the hard yards, it gets easier and easier. So here's the challenge. For the next 7 days, whenever you catch yourself saying, yeah, but, run the 4-second audit. Ask yourself and say out loud if you have to, which M, which level am I avoiding more or am I avoiding better? And am I escaping into additional? And then do one more action better before you allow yourself to do anything new, because tiny changes equals massive results. Remember, if you should, you must, and what's stopping you is probably started. See you next